Hello, welcome to We're Both Dead, and this may be the episode that goes up on Friday because we just recorded the whole entire second Katie Rapport episode and it fucking corrupted, and I'm trying my best to fix it, but it was like 2 hours of recording and we were so energetic during all this, and here we are. Now, I feel so bad.
That was so funny.
I feel so bad. But, you know, it's fine.
I love you, bestie.
How do we do this podcast? What do we do? Who are we?
You're the adult here.
How is that working out for us?
Well,
on today, okay, first I gotta do the intro. Hello, welcome to the Fish and Flower podcast. I'm Rose. Oh, fish, or what? No, I'm not fish. I'm flower. I ain't getting Rose. You tell I'm done.
I believe in
my
you,
fun fact
bestie.
for this one was that I was gonna have my sister, when I died, at least turn part of me into ashes, and then turn those ashes into a vinyl, because I know you can do that. And I was assuming either Xana or Taylor Swift. I didn't know which one.
Both.
Yeah. And then send it to Stingray. And because Stingray has a vinyl player. Like, Stingray could play me then. And I could always be there for Stingray at that point. But no, she said she's gonna just send me for science. Donate me to science.
Which I think is rude because I think I deserve a vinyl with your ashes in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well that was an intro. My name is Fish, aka Stingray. I I don't know. I don't know. I need something funny. I'm not like I'm so hilarious, but like obviously I don't know.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'm trying to see if there's...
Oh, I'm rereading Red, White, and Royal Blue. There's a fun fact. I'm having a good time. I forgot how stupid everybody is, but I love them. It's fine.
Anyways, this is the podcast, like our everyday conversations, but we talk about books. Today's episode
You sound so sad, bestie.
I am so sad. I'm trying my hardest to fix it. It doesn't look like it's working, and I'm going to actually die.
Let's just take a break and not think about it for a moment, and just think about this really sad book you forced me to read for this podcast that nobody listens to.
I labeled this one as not the sad one. This is I Wish You All the Best.
It's not the sad one, but it was so sad.
This is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. You know what? This one has the happy ending. I have read this one before. And also, I read Mason Deaver's second book, The Ghost We Keep, I believe. I've not read their newest one. Didn't even know it was out yet, honestly. Until like 2 days ago. But the second one made me cry. The Ghost We Keep. I hope that's the proper name. And I told you I would tell you why. And yes, that is the proper name. I keep on telling Stingray to read it.
I'll get there eventually, okay?
I feel like we should read it for the podcast. And the reason why is, one, no happy ending, but two, it's slightly based off of Mason Deaver's real life. Following a, I believe they are I don't know if they are non-binary or trans. They use they, them pronouns. Which seems to be a theme in their books, so makes sense. But the plot of the book is this main character dealing with the fact that their brother was killed in a hit and run, and trying to live their life after this tragedy. I'm pretty sure they're also the one who finds their brother's body. But the reason why Mason Deaver wrote this book is because their father in real life was killed in a hit and run, and this was their version of going through the process and emotions of dealing with that. That's how they wrote The Ghost We Keep. So, as you can imagine,
we love self-inserts.
I cried. It's very much more on grief and trying to move on after such grief, but also trying to like what happens after school ends type thing, and separate like what happens if you and your friends stop getting along. There's like literally one point where one of the friends is like, we know that your brother died, but like you've been too sad for too long. It's kind of a bummer. And I remember that scene so vividly.
You want me to read this book too, Bestie? I'm crying just thinking about it. You want me? Is the main character gonna be abandoned by their friends, and you want me to read this book knowing?
Yes.
I hate you.
But that's not the book we read for this. I do think we should read it for the podcast, at least their next 2 books, because I do at some point after K-Anchor Month figure out what books we're going to read for the second non-erotic episodes of the month. Because there's, of course, the buddy reads, but what are the other ones going to be? So, that's an option. Because, good times. I don't know what was wrong with me the first time I read I Wish You All the Best. I did not cry, and also I rated it 4 stars. This time I cried, and rated 5 stars. If you want to know how long ago I read it, it was probably close to 2.5 hours now. Can you tell this is going to be low energy? So this episode, I guess I should start with the content warnings.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Nice piece part. They are transphobia, panic attacks and disorders, homophobia, emotional abuse, mental illness, dysphoria, and also there's like a hint of physical abuse. So, good times?
Lovely times, yes.
Lovely times. I did not take notes for this episode. Because I found a summary. I think it's the same website I found a summary on for the Wilder Girls episode. So like you can't get the full details summary, or not summary, summary, without paying like $20. And I'm like, hello, that's more than I spent on the actual book because I do own it physically. But we do have the basic stuff, so we can just look at it and
The difference between Rose using this website last time and this time is that we actually like this book this time.
Yes. The website I'm using is Book
I'm still bitter and sad that Wilder Girls wasn't better, because it's such a mean book if you think about it.
It really is.
But it was just disappointing.
It really was. God, my back is killing me. I'm not doing great now. I'm just dead on the inside.
I'm sorry, Bestie. I love you. I appreciate you.
I think I'm gonna have to test out so many things, and I don't think any of them are gonna work. I think we're gonna have to re-record it tomorrow.
We can try. We can try.
Now. I'm so sad.
I was so funny.
We both were. It was a hilarious episode. At least the first 12 minutes and 34 seconds saved properly.
I feel like we should use that and then just cut it and be like, hey.
And then it's going to be like, hey. Welcome to We Hate Ourselves. Anyways, yeah, so it's going to be more of us filling in the holes, but I did read it, very recently, so it should be fine. It should be fine.
Like hours ago.
Yes. So it follows, starts with Ben, who is living in this town in North Carolina, working up the courage to come out to their parents as non-binary. There's it's a really stressful thing. Honestly, there just be a whole conversation about how I like stressful books. But basically they're working up the courage to come out to their parents as non-binary, and they keep on almost doing it and then not, and all this stuff. Until they decide to eventually be like, Mom, Dad, I have something I have to tell you. A little bit before that, there was hints that their dad is very controlling and demanding, especially when it comes to grades. Ben is very into art, but their dad is grades come first. If you don't get good grades, you can't do your art, and you can't do anything. And even when Ben gets good opportunities to do with art, their dad does not care, because grades come first, and you have to go to college, and that type of stuff. But also there were some other
derogatory.
Yes. There was some other slice stuff, and they looked to their mom to be like, hello, help, and their mom just looked down, so she low-key gives me, like, possibly abused vibes, just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
But that doesn't excuse her bad behavior herself.
The things she does, but it does
add
recognize
context.
The idea of, like, she's not the real villain here, let's be real.
Yes.
So they decide to, like, come out to the parents, because they no longer want to be hiding such a strong part of themselves, and
I'm not gonna cry.
learn later
I'm not gonna cry.
Their father has made homophobic comments, including using the F word before, and Ben, it has calmed down over the years, and Ben assumed that by them being their kid, it would be okay because they're their kid and they have to love them. That's not what happens. It literally goes to them being, like, feeling so light from finally having told them and having it off their shoulders, to them being like, I wish I had stayed like that longer, and then cuts to the next chapter of them walking around outside with no shoes, holes in their socks, freezing cold outside, in front of the payphone, gathering the courage.
The only payphone left in town.
Yeah, gathering the courage to call up their sister, who they haven't talked to in a decade. Which they eventually do. Hannah, we love her, and her husband Thomas, 10 out of 10. Icons.
I'm not crying.
So,
I'm crying.
Do, and they call her up, and she freaks out. Comes get them. They hang out inside of a pharmacy for, like, the hour it takes to get there, to, like, warm up slightly, and she takes them home, takes care of them, and is like, you can sleep, or what, but we gotta talk in the morning. So, they wake up in the morning.
Can I just mention, I didn't know what this book was about. Rose was just like, read it for the podcast. I'm like, okay. And then I read it, and this is what happened. This is what occurred.
I'd like to remind you, you love me. Also, I've officially read
you gave me no warning.
books now.
What?
Because I upped the rating of this to 5 stars. I've officially read 30 books that are 5 stars now.
To my what? 100 books? 200 books?
Yeah, if you look at the ratio, it's real bad. So, they wake up in the morning, go down, have a conversation. Hear their sister and husband having a conversation in the kitchen about stuff, trying to figure out what happened. They have never met Thomas, the brother-in-law, because, they got together before she was kicked out of the house by the same parents. And all this stuff. So, they go down, and they do wrestle with the idea, but they recognize they have to tell them, that they are non-binary as well, have to come out again. And it's like this constant theme throughout this book, where the idea that throughout your whole entire life as a queer person, especially in this context, you have, your whole entire life is just constantly coming out, and the fact that their first experience doing so was so traumatic, it makes it so difficult. But, they do tell them.
I'm not crying.
They're instantly like, okay, what pronouns do you want to use? Icons. Here, let's clap for the icons, because, like, oh my god. Instantly just being like, pronouns? And they are just so surprised, because they're the first person to ask. And so... You
know what that made me think of when you said pronoun like that? You know the Megamind meme where he's, like, leaning forward, and he's, like, there's, like, a questioning look on his face, and it's, like, whatever question mark. Pronouns question mark with the Megamind. You know what I'm talking about?
Kind of.
Abnormal. I'll make it later.
So, basically the plan is that, for now, Ben will borrow some of Thomas's clothes. But Ben will stay with them, and they will get Ben everything they need. And, Thomas works as the chemistry teacher at a close by, very new school, and all this stuff. And so they take Ben in, Thomas takes Ben into work with him, and Ben decides they do not want to be out at the school, because they don't want to be, ridiculed, because it's high school. Understandable. And also it's their senior year, so, like, they don't, halfway through the senior year too, because it's, just past winter break. Like, winter break just ended. So, they can hopefully get through the last semester and then graduate and then not have to worry about it. which Ben agrees is fine, and makes sure that they understand the levity of that they're gonna be mispronounced for a while because of this, and they're like, yeah, I understand, it's fine. When they're waiting in the office while Ben is having a conversation with the principal about this, or not Ben, Thomas is having a conversation with the principal about all this to get Ben set up. Ben notices a guy coming, and whatnot, to have a conversation with the principal or something. Basically,
I don't care. It was love at first sight.
Yes. Basically, there's some setup for some stuff. They do all the paperwork, and Ben's basically good. The next day, they will be starting school there, and all that fun stuff, including taking this like really big art class, or like big deal art class. And all that fun jazz. And then Hannah helps them get some new clothes, and stuff like that, so like they can have clothes, right? That actually fits them. And they go to school the next day, and Nathan, the guy who was going to see the principal, is the person who's going to show them around the school. And they do have similar classes and whatnot, so they take a tour and all this stuff. Nathan, very bubbly person.
He was sunshine, I was midnight.
Yeah, so
they're very grumpy sunshine.
Yeah,
I love it.
They are. Understandably grumpy. You know, I love it when grumpy sunshine, and the grumpy makes sense.
Yes.
Ben is very standoffish. 1, new school. 2, only gonna be there a semester because it's their last semester in school before they graduate. 3, they just went through this horrible traumatic situation. So, you know, good times. And Ben is instantly like, I'm not gonna eat lunch at the cafeteria, screw cafeterias. Understandable. After this point, they do eat lunch at the quad. They take Art 4, which is like, they are the only student of. And the teacher basically gives them free reign. They can do whatever they want. Even gives them a key so that if they want to work late or during lunch, because eventually she does notice that they sit out in the quad basically all day or all lunch. They get a key so they can spend lunch if they want working on art. Very nice. Love it. 10 out of 10. Good times. Some other things. Ben has a non-binary friend from the internet who's a YouTuber and popular queer personality on talking about queerness and safe spaces and whatnot for like people who's actually met Beyonce. This is like an actual thing in the book where Miriam has met Beyonce. It's like this thing.
That was so funny to me.
Yes. But watching Miriam's videos is how Ben started to come into realization of their gender identity and queerness, because initially they just thought they were gay, and then they were like, but I also just like generally masculine more people, it doesn't matter what gender, and then they realized the more different thing about them was themselves, not how they view other people, right? And the reason they were able to figure this out about themselves is by watching Miriam's videos, and eventually turned into them having conversations and talking, and now they're like best friends, and talk all the time. And we love Miriam. We were talking about it, and apparently I am Stingray's Miriam.
I don't know what else you would be, honestly.
I have not met Beyonce.
No, you're my Hannah.
I'm your Hannah. I'm fine with that.
Think about it. You are my mother.
I do picture Hannah as a blonde, but she dyes her hair red, so like that is me. And whatnot.
So where's your Thomas? We need to find you a Thomas.
Thomas in this is great though. We love Thomas. Thomas literally makes an effort whenever he is talking with other people about Ben, whether that's Nathan, the principal, whoever, that when they use he, him pronouns, because they don't know, Thomas makes an effort to make sure to use Ben instead of pronouns. And we love him for it. And Ben notices this and is just like, oh my god. And all this stuff. So, Hannah recognizes, hey, Ben has gone through a traumatic experience, probably has some feelings about it. Maybe Ben should talk to someone about it. And they know someone whose daughter
but like
was queer and talked to this therapist.
Can we talk about how such a real one?
Hannah is.
Can we talk about how real Thomas is, though? Because he could have just been like, what the fuck, Hannah? And, like, been an asshole and stuff, but he wasn't. He was so accommodating.
Yeah. So, yeah, she makes a call and a meeting with, what's her name? It's Dr. Taylor. That's what her name is. Who does specialize in queer.
Dr. Taylor Swift.
Oh my god. And all this stuff. So Ben has to leave school at like noon one day to do this and all this stuff. At this point, like, Nathan and Ben have chemistry class together, so like, and they have chemistry. So so they're like,
why did I just
flirting.
pick that up when you said it like that?
Nathan's flirting. Ben's being Ben. So but also recognizes that Nathan's kind of cute. So their first meeting with Dr. Taylor is very much more of the when Hannah made the first appointment, it was based off of their parents kicking them out. She did not tell Dr. Taylor anything about Ben's gender identity or any of that, which we appreciate. And so Ben started with that, and it's a lot of the therapy sessions are a mixture of whether or not Ben still loves their parents and how they feel conflicted about that fact, because like it's their parents, but also look at what they did.
Real. No, because like the whole thing with like the parent thing is just honestly heart. Everything about this was too relatable, and like I kind of want to sue you for emotional damage again. Add this to the list.
For emotional damage.
Like if I had to rank them, rate the things that gave me emotional damage from you, I would rank I Wish You All the Best and then Legendborn. I think that says a lot. But that's the order in which I would sue them for. Sue you for, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, the first session is very much the basic stuff of what the therapy is going to be about, when meetings are going to be, how Hannah learns nothing about this, the doctor will not tell anyone, is very confidential, all that fun stuff, which Ben is worried about, because part of Ben's issue is the betrayal they feel when their sister left 10 years ago and left them with their parents, knowing how the parents are. It is hinted lightly that some definitely emotional abuse, but also physical, and it's not straight up said. In fact, at one point, Ben makes a point to mention that they were never physically abused, and that their dad never hit them. But like when they came out, they were really scared that he was going to. But there is evidence that he has with Hannah. So you know, but she was like only 18, freshly out of high school, and all this stuff. So she left, and technically she did leave a phone number and address, but Ben was like 8 years old, didn't have any way to call her, because didn't have a phone, and didn't have any way to get to her, so like had no way to escape to her, so they were left on their own, and so there's a lot of abandonment with that, and betrayal, while also combating the fact that Hannah is there now and doing all the stuff, like helping them get a new phone, doing all this stuff, so also offering at one point to pay for college. Can I have a Hannah?
We all need Hannahs in our lives, honestly.
Yes. So, throughout this, Nathan and Ben are growing a friendship. It's a good time. A lot of the time is Nathan trying to figure out where Ben eats lunch, not knowing, that Ben eats on the quad. Eventually they do tell him, but yeah.
I'm sorry, hold on. We talk about how Ben, quote-unquote, eats in the quad. Does Ben ever eat? I noticed that, because, like, I feel like Ben never eats.
Rarely. I do really think, I don't know if I don't think it's an eating disorder, but I do think it's a side effect of their depression. That
which
they rarely eat.
Is understandable, which in terms still means it's disordered, just not intentionally disordered. Anyways,
Yes. No, a lot of it is either their anxiety or their depression makes them too anxious or, whatnot to eat food. Which, like, I get it, I'm like that sometimes. So but because of all this trauma going on at once, it's very rarely eating at this time. So, like, it's mentioned multiple times, Ben, like, only eating a bit of a sandwich, or only eating this much, or skipping a meal, or stuff like this. Because they just don't have the will to. Can you tell this book is depressing? Oh! Nathan, on the first date, did, try to get Ben to join him and his friends, Sophie and Malika. But, like, they turn him down. Eventually, they agree. He breaks them down, basically. And they do go.
Real.
And makes friends with them very fast. The whole entire friend group. But they are kind of also dealing with the, being unable to be completely honest and available to these people because they do not know their gender identity, their queerness. They don't know fully about them, and so it's a lot of, like, them dealing with, like, the duology of, like, being friends with the people and close with these people and having friends for, like, the first time in a long time, because, like, very little we know about their high school experience before this, but it didn't seem like they had many friends. Like, they straight up say, I wonder if anyone will notice I'm gone. So, you know, good times. So, dealing with, like, having actual friends and whatnot, but also not being able to be completely honest with them. And, ooh, my heart. Yeah.
Respectfully, Rose, stop giving me relatable books, knowing that they're going to be relatable to me, because you know me so well. This was honestly, I feel like, obviously it's a difficult read as it is, but it's also relatable, therefore it makes it worse, bestie.
I know, I'm sorry. Another thing, I relate equally to both Nathan and Ben, because spoiler, Nathan is bi. And really likes Star Wars movies and all this stuff. Ben also likes Star Wars movies, but also
Nathan is literally you.
And makes a Star Wars prequels reference that I would also make. That's the line I remember most from this book. And also,
every time there was a Star Wars thing, or, like, a Pride and Prejudice thing, every time I see anything related in books, I roll my eyes.
Nathan straight up questioned at one point to whether or not to make Darcy's speech to Ben, and I was like,
I rolled my eyes so hard at that because of you.
Yep. I literally sent a voice message to you saying if someone ever did that to me, I'm there, I'm ready.
I know. Okay, but they started talking, I forgot they talked about Star Wars in Red, White, and Royal Blue, and I rolled my eyes so fucking hard.
Yes. Ben's really good at math. See, I'm Ben.
Also, hold on. You're literally Nathan, and I'm literally Ben.
I'm somehow both of them, though. I don't understand it. But Nathan's having trouble in math class, and is trying to find a tutor, so Ben offers to tutor Nathan. Goes over to his house, to do so. They have a little bit of
I'm sorry. I was like, Ben can do math. I was like, hold on, that seems wrong, but they can't. I'm gonna kill myself.
Both of us out here. Yeah, they can't drive. They almost hit a person and a fire hydrant, which is so me.
I'm gonna kill myself. But they can do math. But Nathan can drive.
I love it.
They can't do math.
I love it.
I love how neither of us could drive or do. You can do math, right?
I can do math. I like algebra.
I can't do math or drive. I'm gonna bash my head against the wall. Thank you.
But they go over to Nathan's house to tutor him. They do have a little bit of anxiety about it, but Miriam talks them through it. We love Miriam. They are helping him with math and whatnot, and then he's doing, like, a practice test for extra credit online, and while he does that, Ben starts drawing. In their art journal, the saddest part is that their sketchbook was left at the parents' house. I'm still pissed for them. They start drawing and they just start sketching and end up sketching a little bit of Nathan, which Nathan really likes it. I was really worried with the painting. The first time I read it, that Nathan would not appreciate it, but
I wasn't worried about that. But should I write a fan fiction where Ben and Hannah and Thomas and Nathan, all of them together, obviously, break in to their parents' house and like steal all of Ben's important stuff back, like
yes.
Their sketchbook? I feel like that'd be great healing for us.
Yes. That basically happens. There's a scene where they are on call with Miriam as Hannah and Thomas are out to dinner. They let them go on their own because they probably need some time alone now that they've intervened in their life. And they just stay home and sketch while hanging out with Miriam. And then they see some headlights in their driveway. And it's like, hello? And they just assume it's Hannah and Ben, or not Ben, Hannah and Thomas being back. But then, one, the car's not, like, going anywhere, but also the headlights are staying on for a bit, and no one's exiting the car, and then they realize it's a similar car to their dad's, and they think maybe it's their parents, and they freak out, and there's, like, this whole panic attack. It's really bad. And so...
Okay, if it was their parents, what the fuck? If it wasn't their parents, what the fuck?
I know, right? So Hannah, finds them in the room, locked in the room, in the middle of the panic attack. Thankfully, they do have keys to the other rooms in case something happens. So Thomas is able to get into the room, and Hannah's like, okay, we gotta do something about this. So calls up the therapist and is like, hey, we need an emergency meeting. Right? And so, because before this, I think it was every other day meetings after school. And so Ben goes in. It's confirmed they have anxiety. The therapist... They were worried that the therapist wouldn't believe them about the car and believing it's their parents. And the therapist does, which is very nice. And so
imagine being believed.
They are diagnosed mood stabilizing medication. I believe it is Xanax they are given.
For the whole time it really wasn't mentioned, but then there's 2 times that it was mentioned that it was Xanax.
I was like, Xanax is really a lot to go with. On
yeah, for the first medication you're ever on, you're gonna give this bitch Xanax?
I know, okay. Right? Like, the first thing my doctor started with me was the most basic bitch stuff you can start with. Also, partially probably because it's cheaper. That's another thing. What about the healthcare stuff? Like, I assume Hannah's paying for the therapist, right? But, like...
Yeah.
Are they on their healthcare program now? Hannah's a realtor, by the way. So I don't know what kind of healthcare she has, but Thomas is a teacher at, like, this pretty good school. So you assume he has some healthcare. I assume they have healthcare. I don't know.
But it's also implied they kind of got some money, so it doesn't really matter.
No. Yeah, they have, like, a lot of savings, so, like, because Ben does worry about that. Ben's like, I will pay you back someday. And Hannah's like, don't fucking worry about it. I have savings, and I put aside money and stuff, and, you know, it's fine. One day, and then also, they go to a party. So, there's a party that a senior has. There's a bunch of stuff with, Spirit Week and Spirit in general for the school and whatnot, and dances and all this stuff. Not really important. But the head of the Spirit Club or whatever is throwing a party, and Nathan, Malinka, and I think that's her name, and Sophie are going, and are like, come with us, and Ben doesn't really want to go, but eventually agrees. There is drinking at the party. Hannah instantly is like, okay, so I know this is a party, I know there's going to be alcohol there, and Ben does not initially want to drink, because partially does not seem like their type of thing. 2, already anxious enough. 3, not supposed to drink with Xanax. I know this. So
I think everyone knows that, but a lot of people don't follow it.
You're like allowed to have like a beer, but like that's it. And all this.
Sorry, that was some other stuff coming out there.
I wasn't supposed to. I mean, I don't take mine anymore, but I know you're not supposed to take grapefruit because it's a medication that disperses over time, and grapefruit messes with the chemical reaction that does that, but yet every single day at breakfast I would have grapefruit.
Is that why you can't have grapefruit on those types of medication? I didn't know why. I just went with it because my mom put on a bunch of different ones.
Yeah, that's a lot of medications you're not allowed to have grapefruit because of that. I know my dad couldn't have it because I think it was his blood thinners. So yeah, a lot of, especially ones that are like time released and stuff like that. You're not supposed to have grapefruit. So
Hear
like
me
I get
out
it.
though. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really liked the party, but also really hated it. Does that make sense?
Yes, I skipped through a good chunk of it because I was like, I don't need to go through this again. Skip, 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 skip. Good times. So at this party, they spend most of the time with Nathan. There's like this, sports
I love Nathan.
big guy. I don't know.
Does it
No one likes
like Josh or something
I
or
thought
something
like Troy.
so stupid? No, I don't know. I feel like T or J sounds right. I don't know.
Yeah. No one likes this guy. But he forces Ben to drink. With the power of peer pressure, and Ben doesn't want to like make a scene or anything, so they end up having not only a beer but also tequila, and all this stuff, and then they start having a panic attack, so they rush out. Because
hear me out. It sounds like they only had like 2 sips of the beer. Like it doesn't sound like they drank the full thing.
Literally, at one point, Nathan's like, "You did not have much. You're not drunk." But they do have touch aversion. And usually it's not an issue with Nathan. Nathan's usually pretty good. In fact, Nathan usually grounds them. But this guy was basically keeping them in a headlock, which like with anyone, hello no. But like with a touch aversion person already, no. Which push them over.
I feel like a lot of it also has to do with the fact that Ben is being touched without their consent. I feel like that has a big play in it too. That's
part of it. And then it's also like this crowded room, a lot of people they don't really know, very loud, not a situation they're in really ever, so new thing for them, all this stuff. Leads to them having a panic attack. Nathan helps them down, and then they go to Nathan's house, and apparently Nathan likes to hang out on his roof. So they go on the roof, and hang out and hold hands, while they talk and stare at the sky. I love these two little gays so much. So much.
If I told you this is one of my favorites of the year so far, how would you feel?
It makes sense. I didn't remember this being this sad. Let me be real.
Oh, wow.
I know. If I had remembered, I would have forced you to read it so much earlier, because I know sad.
Wow!
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not, but
you
goddamn, don't you want me to have a chance? You don't want me to have a chance to be happy?
Bessie.
Even my own friends are sabotaging me. Wow.
I can force you to read smut instead if you want.
Is it gay?
No.
No, I'll read the sad books.
Exactly. No, literally, because when you read the Legendborn, I was almost not going to make you read Legendborn, because, like, I know that book is a lot, and also fantasy, so I wasn't sure if it's going to be a thing for you. So I was going to make you read one of my favorite Rakas instead.
But see, if a book makes me want to bash my head against the wall, you know it's going to be for me.
That's true. Yeah, that happened. One day, they are just scrolling through Facebook on Hannah's computer, from their mom.
Maybe.
Asking to meet up and talk things over. They do go to their therapist, and they're like, I don't know if I should do this. Shows the message. I don't remember the message exactly, but it was like kind of fucked up. Kind of like, I want to talk to you about this stuff, and we need to have a conversation and stuff like this. And it's very clear that they had a better relationship with their mother, with gardening and all this stuff. Also, there's like some stuff with the past where like when Hannah and their dad would get in fights, a lot, their mother was really into genealogy. Genetics and family line and whatnot.
Maybe got a blueberry.
Ooh, Rosemaryn's blueberry. So.
Well, cut over, bestie.
So whenever Hannah and their dad would get in fights for like a whole month there, their mom would take them to the library and look this stuff up, and they would hang out, but then like it just stopped one day. They would help their mom cook or do dishes a lot. A lot of very more feminine ideal tasks like gardening, cooking, cleaning type stuff. Shopping, those types of things. They did with their mom a lot. So I found that interesting in general. But they get this message. The therapist is like, I don't know if you should go. Because I don't know if it will be good for you. Because they've already shown they do not have your best interest at heart and all this stuff.
Maybe we should listen to our therapist, right?
I know, right? But she does talk them into going at least with a friend. And they don't want to go with Hannah because they know Hannah will start a fight and a scene. So they ask Nate. At this point, Nathan knows that they were kicked out of their house by the parents, and that's why they live with Thomas and Hannah. He does not know the reason why. He just knows it happened. And so when Ben asks, is like, are you sure about this? Because seriously, and also he very much believes that their parents are fucked up for doing this. Icon.
Real.
Like, his initial reaction was, that's fucked up.
Yeah, because it is.
It is. But Nathan agrees. Basically, Nathan sits at, like, another table within view at this restaurant, so he can see what happens.
Also, they texted back and forth, right? And Nathan was like, I should have worn the hat and the mustache.
Yes.
That was so funny.
Sometimes. I think I don't remember if this is before or after the picnic. I don't remember. But I think it's, I don't know. But, they, go and all this stuff. Parents show up eventually, and basically the parents are like, you're going to call, like, a lot of their college admission stuff has come in, and Ben's like, I don't want to go to college. The current plan is to take a gap year, figure out a plan, maybe get an apartment, so they're not dependent on Hannah, and then see where to go from there. And Hannah is like, that's a fine idea. Like, Hannah isn't bad about it. And so,
we love Hannah.
I know, right? And whatnot. And this is, I know there was another point when Hannah offered to pay for college. But when Ben brings this up, the dad's so angry. Like, viscerally angry about the idea that their child won't go to college.
And literally why? Like, what the fuck is wrong with that man? I don't know. Fuck up.
I mean, this man kept on calling them son as a derogatory term.
Men derogatory.
I know, right? The mother very much seemed like she just wanted their child back. Meanwhile, the father was just there.
Yeah, I was actually, like,
angry.
Okay, hear me out. I feel like if their mom left their dad,
and went to therapy,
she would be able to, like, they would be able to have a relationship.
Yes. The parents...
Because I don't think it's the mom, it's just the dad.
Yeah.
Truly.
Most of it is the dad. But I think she has to go through a lot of shit before she can do that. Like, she's got to deal with the, damage she's caused on her children, to stay in this marriage that it's not blatantly said it's abusive, but the way that they interact,
it definitely is.
Yeah, no, like, the way she always looks down whenever he gets angry, whenever she always tries to leave the house whenever he's angry, so that with Ben, to keep Ben safe, stuff like that.
I personally think that he did raise his hand at Hannah. He did, in fact, hit Hannah once. And he almost did it again in public. Therefore, I do think he,
Yeah, like, he would hit his daughter. What would stop him from hitting his wife type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, very much the parents' plan is to be like, okay, you're coming home, we don't care if you wait till the end of the school year, because it's the end of the school year, but you're coming home, and then you're going to college, and all this stuff is gonna happen. And Ben's like, no, because initially they're like, oh my god, they want me back, but then they realize, no, they don't want me back, they want the son they had back, right?
Ooh, tomato.
I know, right? So they get up and go to leave, they realize that Nathan is there to, like, help Ben, and the father's like, what, are you scared of us? And to be like a joke, but Ben doesn't reply and doesn't laugh. So, And they go to leave, but then the mom's like, oh, is this your friend? I want to meet your friend. And Nathan, like,
I hated that.
Gets them out of it. Nathan's like, oh, hi, ma'am. Yes, we have to go meet up with friends. We're already late. Gotta go. Bye. And gets them out of there. We love Nathan.
We do.
Mom. Love Nathan. Hey, everyone. Love Nathan.
Yeah.
So they go. It was a fun time. Not really. Ben recognizes they shouldn't have gone. And all this stuff. There's also a scene where they go on a date, basically, at this park where they do showings of the Star Wars movies currently. And so Nathan packs a picnic, takes Ben as a surprise. They have conversations about. At this point, Ben does officially have a thing for Nathan, and is trying to figure out if Nathan is gay, and if gay, preferably bi, because then it would be less of an issue with the non-binariness, but also they don't want to get in a relationship with Nathan because they're scared, one, of Nathan going off to college and leaving them behind, but two, of them being too complicated for Nathan, and whatnot, especially since Nathan does not know about their preferred gender identity and all this stuff. Makes sense. So, but they go on this date, they have sandwiches,
they watch Star Wars.
They watch Star Wars, and then they take a walk afterwards, at which point they go to a pond. We learn that Ben doesn't like the water, me too, and then Ben says, I also don't like sand, and Nathan, the dumbass he is, knowing the Star Wars films, goes, why not? And Ben replies, because it's coarse and gets everywhere, which is an infamous prequel line. I know you don't understand the joke, but it's hilarious. Nathan calls it the worst prequel. Nathan's a fucking liar. That is one of my favorite of the prequels. The third one is my favorite, and then the second one, and then the first.
What's it called? I've never been to the beach. I feel like this is relevant information, so I don't know about any of these things. Anyways.
I was gonna say I've only been to a main beach, which are very rocky, but that's a lie, because I went to a Florida beach one time, and I laid around in the middle of, like, it was spring vacation time, so it was like 80 degrees outside in the sun, and I was wearing pants and a sweater, and reading a book.
What the fuck?
So,
a fucking sweater?
Yeah.
Bestie.
Uh-huh.
Please.
No. I also was wearing a bathing suit underneath that stuff, and it was a bathing suit I specifically bought because I knew I was going to go to Florida. And probably go to a beach.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it's a nice bathing suit. I still own it. It doesn't fit my boobs properly, but, you know. I'm very improportionate, where I have pretty good sized boobs.
Me too!
But I have no
don't
ass,
worry.
so nothing fits my thighs or ass properly if it fits my boobs properly, and I gotta, like, compete with which one to go with a lot of times with that type of stuff. It's a fun time.
Nothing ever fits anywhere, so whatever.
My sister has a similar issue, but it's her shoulders. She has very broad shoulders, and so, like, if something fits her on the bottom, it doesn't really fit her on top, because she's just, like, very wide up on top. It's hilarious.
It's not hilarious, Bestie. It's devastating having these terrible proportions.
The good news is that when she has something that fits her properly like that, and she doesn't want it anymore, it gives it to me. Good chances are, despite the fact that I have boobs and she doesn't, my lack of shoulders compensate, and it will fit me properly. So, and that is why I have one nice fitting jumper.
And that is why Carmen's the cat purring in your lap.
That it's annoying. You have a cat?
No, I said it, and that's why Carmen's a cat purring in your lap.
I just heard cat purring in your lap, and I was like, cat?
Well, there is going to be a cat purring in my lap in about an hour.
Yeah, I remember this.
I'm not excited.
I'm sorry.
We're not prepared to have this cat at all. My mom's like, I'm bringing home a cat from work. Like, bitch!
The way that she keeps on trying to do that, you keep on being like, ma'am, with what money, materials, food, care?
Yeah.
How we're gonna interact with this cat and
She's
dog?
like, find a shoebox. I'm like, bitch, where the fuck is there an empty shoebox? The only shoeboxes I have shit in them.
Yeah. The only reason anyone keeps shoeboxes is to hold things in them.
That aren't shoes.
Yeah. So, basically, it's this cute scene, Star Wars, if anyone wants to wonder what my favorite Star Wars films are, I will tell you the third prequel was my favorite for the longest time. And when I showed them all to Bestie, that one is her favorite as well as her boyfriend's. And it is hilarious because it is the depressing dark one.
Wow.
My dad was not very happy about this fact. Which, we love.
I was gonna make a bad joke, but I will refrain.
Oh, you mean that he can't be unhappy anymore because he's dead?
Yeah!
Don't worry. Like, Mike is the same place. I like dark comedy sometimes.
What are you gonna make me watch those? I'm surprised you haven't been like, I'm gonna make you watch Star Wars eventually.
I'm going to. I did offer to show you my favorite one for my birthday.
I literally
but you were out of
do not care. Oh, yeah. I don't know what's going on.
When Ben tries to hold their parents accountable for their abusive actions, they just undermine it.
Tomato.
So, also during this time, the art teacher, Mrs. Liu, who is Chinese American, there's a lot of also just diversity in race, in both, gender, Miriam is, God, I can't remember the exact terminology used for them, but very religious, wearing a head wrap, religious, so one of those sects, of religion, and all this stuff, which is, it's brought up because at one point, when they came out, Ben's mother said, this is not what God wanted. Rolls eyes. But then there's Miriam, who is religious and pansexual and non-binary, and their family, and also themselves, and their God, all are fine.
Hear me out, I think it's just white people.
True. Cause
we say as white
black,
people.
There's, one of the friends, I believe, is Asian. I'm not sure about that, actually. But yeah, no, there's a lot of race. Also, Nathan's black. How could I forget to bring up that fact? I'm a dumbass. You just be. But yeah, there's a lot of mixed diversity. But the art teacher, Mrs. Liu, is having an art show. And keeps on trying to get Ben to join. And Ben's like, I don't know about it. Currently, the main 3 paintings Ben has done is a canary, because that is Miriam's favorite type of bird. A Jason Pollock, drip art painting type thing.
Okay, hold on. I don't understand why people get mad about there being more diversity, like race-wise or any other way-wise, because honestly, it's comforting to see different types of people to me. Does that make sense?
What the fuck is this cat you sent me?
It's me! It's me!
I know you said that, but
no, but like seeing and like being reading or whatever with different types of people that aren't me type of people, it's very comforting in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like the stereotype of the black old lady being like a grandma and being like, oh, I think that's what, because how every time you actually bump, the whole thing's when you actually bump into an older black lady in the store or something, she's like, it's okay, sugar, all this. It's not that sort of thing. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Wow, thanks. I feel so understood.
The other painting that Ben has been working on for a very long time.
I'm sorry, hold on. I think what I'm trying to get at is I don't understand when people are it's quote unquote uncomfortable to have diversity because it feels better to me personally. I don't know.
People are dumbasses.
Well, yeah, but
because people are the worst. You know who doesn't care? Dogs.
I think it has something to do with me as a white person. I've been too traumatized by other white people, therefore.
True. Have you been traumatized by religious white people? You too.
Do you live in the South? Have you been traumatized by literally everybody that exists?
But Republican Vermont is very similar to the South. So, and, my grandpa may be Republican, and it's Vermont, so. Because of my water with that one.
Bestie, I live in Texas.
I know you live in Texas.
We're the same boat, bestie.
But yes.
Should I mention the amount of Confederate flags my father owns? Yeah.
I'm scared for you a lot of the time.
Me too.
You must are you having fun with basically no bodily rights down there?
Listen.
We're not voting for all of ours to be kept, so we love that. Vermont's like, yeah, no, you can keep your rights.
Can't relate.
Vermont,
I ain't got none of them.
A mix of Canada and like Republican.
Bestie, can I move in with you because like I'll take over all the housework and cook dinner and everything. I'll just be I'll become Cinderella. No, you just work on everything else. You don't have to pay me. I just have to live there and I'll do everything.
So you mean my relationship?
So I can get out of here.
Right now? You mean both of our relationships with our mothers right now?
Does your mother still love me?
I think so.
You think so?
I haven't asked her in a bit. I'll ask her at dinner.
Okay, thank you. I have to know. I've been abandoned 3 times recently. I gotta make sure.
Can we go talking about Ben's paintings?
Yeah! You're gonna have to cut out so much shit.
No, I'm keeping all of it.
Please cut out some of it. Oh my lord. Some of this stuff does not need to be known by the internet. There's a fucking gnat in my face! Sorry.
Gotta keep in all our trauma for the whole 5 minutes. So,
no one will listen to it this far. It'll be okay.
True.
Can I stop cackling? My god.
No, because it's really funny. So, the current painting that Ben's in the middle of doing is one of Nathan. It is very yellow. Yeah.
I want to see this painting, like, actually. Like, I want it to exist.
They do not initially get permission from Nathan, but eventually decide to tell Nathan, and, Nathan is, like, instantly like, oh my god, this is great. I'm, like, an actual model. Oh my god. We love it.
I love Nathan. He's so real.
Eventually, Ben does agree to be in the art show with the Nathan photo, the Cardinal, and the Pollock Lake painting. They're initially really nervous. They spend a long time. Oh, I skipped this whole entire scene where Hannah took them, clothes shopping, and it was a lot of, like, them trying to decide, not only what section to pick clothes from, but also, like, which changing room to go in. And also, like, when they, like, try to, like, there's, like, the sweater thing.
I'm so sad they didn't get the sweater!
I know, right? That, like, they pointed out the sweater thing to Hannah, and Hannah was like, yeah, that's cute, but not me. And then Hannah picked up this white dress that Ben really liked, and Hannah was like, what about this? And Ben, instantly for themselves, answered, oh, I love it. But Hannah was like, I'm not sure, and then set it down. And Ben was dealing a lot with, like, conflicting with how to handle this whole situation. But in line, checking out when, you know, you have all those random knickknacks there was nail polish. And so she gets them nail polish, and then there's this whole cute scene where they paint nails.
Yeah, and the fact, the fact
and they initially did pink.
Ben chooses pink. Yeah.
And they do, the nails being done is a cute little moment. They have fear of wearing it in public, so they don't really do it. It is a very big moment of growth at the end in the epilogue when they are wearing nail polish in public. Let me tell you.
I was so, oh my god.
So, yeah, there's this whole cute moment. That's just something I wanted to bring up. But also one of the shirts they got while there was this black shirt, button-up shirt, that has pink flowers all over it. Which I want.
I wish they would have worn that more. I'm so sorry.
I want. Yeah, they were saving it up for, like, a nice event and whatnot, so they decided to wear it to the art show. They do deal with a little bit of body dysmorphia, and whatnot throughout the book. That's just a thing.
It's so sad.
It really is.
Undeserved.
But they do,
Ben is an angel. That's undeserved.
They're slightly anxious about the whole entire event, but then they get there and their friends are there. Despite the fact, like, the friends said they would go. They are surprised that they actually show up. Nathan's already inside looking at the painting of himself. And I thought...
He's so real for that.
And, like, eventually they get into the groove. And they aren't, like, they're having a good time. And whatnot. And then...
the incident. TM.
And then the parents show up. Unannounced. They,
Sorry, I'm not one to advocate for, like...
abuse?
Telling people to off themselves, but I hope you know the whole time I was just hissing into the air at the parents to just...
Yeah.
It's fine. They don't exist. It's okay.
Apparently the parents were looking up the school, and they saw that there was an art show, and then, they saw Ben's name on the list of students being shown off at the art show, so they decided they...
You weren't invited, so, like, why are you here? Like, oh my god!
It was also mentioned earlier something about tickets, so, like, how did they even get in?
I don't know.
I assume that they may have just said that they were Ben's parents, and then were able to get in, but still. A little suspicious. Because, like, they had to get tickets for the friend group. So, they show up, Ben instantly sends Nathan to, like, go distract Hannah, because they don't want to see him. And then, to, like, appease the parents, they're like, they try to get them to leave, but they won't, so they take them to show their art, and at which point the dad's like, oh, wow, you're actually good at this, and, like, Ben doesn't say anything, but...
Well, Dad! Like, just, oh my god, that
you
actually so much.
To look at my art before now, like, shut the fuck up. They are continually misgendering Ben throughout this whole entire experience.
I really wanted Ben just to say, shut the fuck up.
I know, right? At one point, Ben says, you guys, and then the dad makes a quote-unquote joke about misgendering, and then the mom's like, see, honey, we've been doing research, we looked up what misgendering is, and they're like, yeah, and then you made a light of it, like, fucking jackasses? That's not what they say. That's what I say. But they're like, but you made light of something that you do to me constantly. That is, like, really harmful to me. Yeah.
This part made my blood pressure rise so much, and just hearing it again is... I'm stressed.
Ben's getting, like, really angry, trying to get them to leave, and they're almost about to leave.
As they should. Like, the fuck?
Storms over. Yeah, Hannah, starts a yelling match, calling them out for hurting, herself and Ben in their youth. Yeah. It's fine. It's a lot of, like, the parents using he, him pronouns, and then, Hannah using they, them pronouns. Honestly, if anyone was paying attention to the conversation, they could have figured it out. And
obviously no one was paying attention, because what the fuck?
I know, right? Obviously it's this big giant scene. At one point, like, it was mentioned earlier that their parents, spend a lot of effort having a perfect exterior in public. And so at one point during this, match, I think he calls her a whore and goes to hit her.
Yeah.
But then realizes he's in public and stops. And Hannah does not look surprised by this.
You have sex one time in high school and you get called a whore.
So, obviously Ben is freaking out because everyone's seeing this, oh my god. So, they have Nathan take them out and leave. And they're about to get in the car when the mother literally grips onto them to the point where there's, like, actually, like, dents in their wrist and arm from her fingernails.
Tomato, tomato, tomato. Like,
so, also one thing they do is, when Hannah is, like, telling them off, they're like, well, Ben said that they're coming home with us, so you don't have to worry about it.
And Ben's like, the fuck, I did not!
I just intervened in the right pronouns. But, they're all like this, and then Hannah's like, excuse me, the fuck? And, Ben storms off, all that stuff, and they're like, we want you to come home. And they straight up say, they're just like, I think at one point they say, we just want you to come home, son. And Ben says, I'm not coming home. You're not my parents. I am not your son. And if you try to find me, again, if you show up to Hannah's house, if you do any of this, if you come near me or Hannah ever again, I am calling the police. And then gets in the car, Nathan speeds away, and their jaws are just on the floor. And I'm like, good, you fucking jackasses.
I was so proud of them when that happened. I'm not your son.
I would fight a bitch. But in reality, I'd just be in the corner crying. So I'm proud of them.
No, I need you to know my jaw literally dropped, and I was like, oh my god, when they said I'm not your son. Like, thank you!
Yeah. Ben basically spends the night at Nathan's. I forgot to mention they've already met Nathan's parents. There was this very cute scene with Nathan's parents, where the mother's like, "Oh, good to finally meet you," and
I'm sorry,
like,
hold on.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, Nathan talks about you, but not like
all
the time." And then the dad's like, "Oh yeah, just only every morning, night, and before bed, and all this stuff."
Can we just talk about how cathartic it probably was for them to say, "I am not your son." I
know, right? It's literally in quotes on this summary that I'm looking at and not really following much. It literally says, "I am not your son," in quotes with a page number. That's how important it is. It's in the free version.
No, because like just saying to someone's face that I'm not your XYZ, whatever it is, to them, it's just, oh, I need that in my life occasionally, like, just, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah. They spend the night at Nathan's, but do go home the next day despite being angry at Hannah, for making a scene, and because they're worried what Hannah will do if they don't get home, but, like, they spend, like, not even, like, weeks, but, like, a month at least, just, like, completely emotionally out of it. They do skip school, I want to say, for, like, maybe a few weeks, but, like, it's bad. It's a real bad depression spiral. Hannah does force them to go to the therapist, at which point Ben does bring Hannah in, and they have a sit-down with the therapist, at which point Ben finally admits the betrayal they felt this whole time over her leaving them behind, and also Hannah was all like, I didn't want the parents to make a scene, and Ben just laughed and was like, they'll make a scene? You're the one that fought with them. Like, they were about to leave, and you always did that as a kid. You would always fight with them, you'd always try to fight back, and that was your issue. If you had just let it be, and it very much gives, like, the vibe of, like, you can't fight back, and very much, like, fear-mongering, especially when it came to Ben, who, like, Ben's survival tactic was to basically, not say anything and just take it. Meanwhile, Hannah's was to fight back. Yeah. And all that stuff,
It's fine, I'm fine.
So, the friends are worried, and so, a bunch of stuff happens with that. We're going to, like, is a senior showcase, I don't know, where they do a bunch of arcade games and bowling. Apparently Ben's, like, really good at bowling, and stuff like that.
Just a roll for that.
Yes. Right after that therapy session with the two of them and the therapist, did I mention that the parents were like, we're going to therapy and you can see the same therapist? And Ben's like, no, I have a therapist and I like her. Like, and then they're like, and they're not so happy about it. But right after the therapy session, Hannah's like, okay, I have to talk to you because I have to talk to you about why I left. And it's not something she wanted the therapist to know about, but basically the reason she left is right before she left, she had this boyfriend, and they decided to do it. They did use protection, but, like, that doesn't work 100% of the time. Her cycle was a little late. She was not pregnant, but she did take some pregnancy tests, and somehow the mother found them. I do not know how, because she did throw them all away, so, it must have been snooping, and stuff like that. And then
their mother does seem like the type of mother to look through the trash.
Yes. And so, she told the mother not to tell the dad, because, like, she knew that he would react poorly, even though she wasn't pregnant. Like, it was already resolved by that point. But the mother did. The mother was like, yeah, I won't tell him. And then did. And then he...
Tomato! And then,
said...
That was unnecessary.
About not raising a whore, and then hit her. And so she left. Which, valid. I get her reasoning of, she's only 18, just graduated from high school, about to go to college. There's no way she can raise an 8-year-old. And all this stuff. And whatnot.
I love how this whole thing is, you had sex one time in high school, therefore your parents disowned you, basically, and then you have to abandon your little sibling, and then oh my god,
At this point, Ben finally realizes the extent of how bad their parents are, especially the dad, and is like, oh, fuck, this is not a thing that Hannah thinks or talks about much, and whatnot.
Which is understandable.
Also, during the therapy session, Ben learned that while Hannah would think about them all the time, Thomas didn't even know Ben existed until, they moved in together, and they were unpacking, and he found the photo albums that had Ben in them.
See, I feel like I understand why Ben would be upset about that knowledge.
It's very much trying to get herself away emotionally as much as possible, not even thinking about, or thinking about them, but not talking about it ever, because
the thing is, if she had to talk about Ben, I mean, she would have to talk about her parents, and from what I understand, she didn't even tell Thomas about that till after they were married. So I think that's the whole thing, is that, and that's why he didn't know.
But yeah, they both decide to come together and support each other in their mutual rejection of their parents' abusive tendencies and whatnot. It's a very good time. Ben recognizes that they both have a lot of both their parents in them, and that's sometimes an issue. But that doesn't stop them from loving each other and supporting each other and not being like their parents. Which, it's fine. I'm not crying. So Miriam does a lot of public show speeches and whatnot.
We love Miriam.
And is coming to the close by college. Which means Ben gets to meet Miriam in person. Ben talks to Miriam about their desire to be with Nathan, but also fear of Nathan reacting poorly to coming out because of, it's just a constant trauma that they're gonna have to deal with the rest of their life because of their stupid parents. I'm just fucking pissed. And this is fictional characters.
No, the thing is, now you said that they're fictional characters, this shit happens in real fucking life.
I know.
It's fine, I remember
as I said that, the ghost, God, how did I forget the name? The second book, that, of Mason Devers, is based off loosely based off of real life stuff. So how much of this one? And then I'm just sad again. God,
The Ghostly Caught, bestie?
Not the caught.
That's what you said!
No.
You said the Ghostly Caught!
Me when I put you in that. Oh no. The ghost got caught.
Oh my god.
So, Miriam, helps, Ben, get the courage, I guess, I don't know, strength, to, come out to Nathan, in hopes that maybe that can lead to, just because they trust Nathan and, really like Nathan, but hopefully, maybe, possibly, attempted more. They go out with Nathan, hang out for a bit, go on some walks, they're talking, they tell Nathan fucking starts bawling his eyes out, apologizing for gendering them and using the wrong pronouns for the past, half year, and all this stuff.
It's fine. I'm fine.
And Ben was crying, they were hugging and crying, and I was totally not crying.
I'm fine. I'm currently a million% okay.
Up. I really hope my ears aren't tearing up. I'm not tearing up about this stuff. Now, it was a very sweet moment of Nathan supporting them, not getting angry that they didn't tell them beforehand, because I've read that type of story before. No, it's literally...
What the fuck? What book was that? So I never read it.
Here's the thing, I just like it. And in his defense, he was angry because, he felt like she didn't trust him, and, viewed it as him being a bad friend because of it. viewed himself as a bad friend because of it. Like, I get it, but also this is the same book where he almost kisses a girl who is also his quote unquote dead best friend, who is finally being able to show herself as the person she's always wanted to be, who he assumed died in war.
That book. Okay.
He's going to kiss her because I like this cute girl. And then realizing that, oh my god, this is my dead friend from the pattern of freckles on her neck.
Yeah.
That's a little gay. Hear me out. They do more stuff, and it's hinted that he did stuff beforehand, so he's also a little gay in general. So. Listen,
good to know.
He doesn't mind being pegged.
Okay.
So how even
Thanks.
the cleanest episode about that type of stuff is when I talk about this. Anyways, I'm talking about A Lady for a Duke. I do really like that book.
Sex is not even mentioned in this book, and somehow we still get this pegging!
Yeah, the most that happens is Ben being like, I wouldn't mind sexual relation, like, Ben never really thought about that type of stuff before. I assume because dealing with their own gender identity this whole time was too prevalent in their mind to worry about banging someone. And so they do recognize, though, at one point that they wouldn't mind with Nathan. Which, you know, understandable. But yeah, it's a very sweet moment. And then that is also the day that Miriam has their thing at the college. They did meet in person before this, and hang out and whatnot. And so Ben offers to take Nathan. It's also where like a queer support group is and all the stuff that the therapist did give them a pamphlet for, but they just decided not to go to, which I get because they didn't want to like have to come out to all these strangers and all that stuff. So they go to this event where they are talking about a bunch of stuff for like an hour and a half, and then afterwards a bunch of people at the event who are just there are like, okay, thank you for coming to this event, pronouns and all this stuff. At which point it's like one of the first times in like actual public to other people who like they do not know that they have said that they are they them pronouns. We love them for this, and Nathan instantly gets along with everyone. Also, I'm pretty sure they're holding hands in this whole entire scene. They hold hands a lot. And this is
casually, it's like it's just a normal thing.
You know, you just have a hold hands with your friend, in a totally straight way, almost all the time. But then, like a few months later, don't worry, you're just making out all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Relatable. Not. So.
Are you jealous, bestie? Of these fictional characters?
Yes. Oh yeah. Also, the way this synopsis says, or summary says, Ben feels held and loved by Nathan's reaction to their secret. Thanks. I didn't need that. My heart was already broken. Fuck you.
This was your idea.
I know. So, all this stuff is happening. They're very cute, whatnot. I think they go and hang out on Nathan's roof afterwards.
Hell yeah.
Nathan basically asks Ben to prom. And Ben says, prom's not my thing. And so...
The way it goes over his head, like, oh my god. I can't do this anymore.
But yeah, no, it initially goes over their head. They do, for a second there, are like, wait a second, did you just ask me to prom? But, like, it's one of those times
okay, I don't know when it was. I think it was after the art show, whenever they're together at Nathan's house and they listen to music. Do I know what song it was? Do you want to know what song it was?
What song was it?
It was The Good Side by Troye Sivan.
Oh, okay.
That's from his second album, I think. I haven't listened to Troye
really
Sivan in a while.
I've never really listened to any of his music, so.
Wow.
I know. This is me we're talking about. I was to Xana and Taylor Swift, and that's it nowadays.
You're welcome.
But yeah, it's like
this is a Xanistan podcast, thank you.
Yes. It's like one of those type of moments where like Ben questions if it was like supposed to be more afterwards. Like it's happened a few times prior, but yeah. so prom's happening. Nathan invites Ben over for a surprise an hour after prom starts, and Ben is worried that like it's something to do with prom, but then they're like, well, it's an hour after prom starts, so why would he invite me over after prom starts, right? So instead they go off to the roof, and hang out. There's like a scavenger hunt trying to find Nathan in the house. There's a bunch of stuff like that. At which point Nathan admits that he likes Ben, and that was him trying to, that was him trying to ask them to prom. And they're like, oh my god. It's like this whole coming out story, where they admit that, or that he admits, that Nathan admits. Me trying to figure out who's who. Right?
Yeah. Sometimes I would get them confused when listening, because I listened to the last half of it. I was like, wait, hold on, who?
I didn't have a much issue because I was dual reading it. Something cool like that. Nathan.
Like their names sound similar, but they don't sound similar at all. Does that make sense?
No, but I'll accept it.
Wow.
Nathan comes out as bi. It's this whole story where, like, Nathan's like, you came out to me, and I also have a secret, because there's this whole thing about secrets earlier. And so, like, I know I don't have to come out to you as well, but, like, I feel like I should. And it's because Nathan likes Ben, and then...
Yeah, we know.
Nathan's like, okay, say something. That isn't my name, or I. And Ben's like, I like you too, and possibly more than like you, and then, they make out, it's very sweet, on the roof, it's very cute, and then they cuddle, it's fine, I'm emotionally stable enough to handle this,
You don't need psychological help?
Yes, they secure their, romantic, oh yeah, also there's, like, this whole thing of, like, what do we call ourselves, because, like, Nathan's like, well, I can't call you my boyfriend.
Oh my god, yeehaw!
So there's that whole yeehaw joke, where Ben's like, well, is calling you my partner too yeehaw for you? And then Nathan just occasionally just keeps on saying yeehaw for a bit there. It's real funny. That's me. But then Ben's like, is it too much to say that I'm your like non-binary friend who's more than a friend that you like to kiss sometimes or something like that? And Nathan's like,
I think that's literally what they said.
Oh my god, am I that good? You know, it's been like,
no, I think you're just like you're deranged in your head.
It's been 3.5 hours since I read it, so maybe that's why. And then they bring up the idea of being just each other's person, and that's what they call it, which I find very.
Yeah, that made me want to bash my head against the wall.
You know, sometimes I want to be someone's person. Instead, all I got is Bella, and she just ignores I exist half the time.
Real. I don't have a Bella though. I have an Ebby Ray. Where is she? She's not on my floor, Ebby Ray! Ebby Ray, I made you treats and gave you blueberries, Ebby Ray!
So, there's an epilogue, that's like 3 weeks later.
I found it in her. She's looking at me like I'm crazy.
Okay. That's, 3 weeks later, near the end of, is it like near the, or is it 3 months later? Sometime later. 3-something later.
Much.
Summer vacation, Nathan's about to go halfway across the country for college. It's kind of like this whole thing that they have to deal with, but they're also like just ignoring right now, and being together while they can. Right? So they're at the beach. So yeah, Nathan's moving to LA. So they are.
Honestly, I want to know more about that. Like, why did he choose UCLA?
I don't know.
What did he get in for? What is he going for, etc.
I assume something to do with literature.
Because isn't like UCLA hard to get into or something?
Something like that. Yeah, I think so.
Conan Gray went to UCLA. I'm sorry, that's my personality who went to UCLA. Conan Gray.
Do
you know who that is?
No.
Oh my god.
So they are at the beach.
He makes music, bestie.
Okay.
He was a YouTuber.
Okay. So like the whole friend group is at the beach, to be like the last day I think Nathan's there before he goes off or something like that. To celebrate and whatnot. And Ben does go into the water with their fear of water and also deal with the sand, despite the fact that they do hate sand. Just for Nathan,
they're so real for that.
Of Nathan shirtless, and all this stuff. At this point, we learn that Miriam is has a plan with Ben, where Ben will do a lot of art and also help them with speeches and talking to people about queerness and being non-binary and whatnot, which means going around the world with them a lot. But also, I think they are based in LA, which is where Nathan is. So, like, while for the first year Nathan does have to live in dorms, afterwards they can all live together and be a cute, happy family.
Yeah.
Oh, and okay. Let me just read the last sentence in this summary. Ben feels held by his community, emotionally stable, confident about their identity as non-binary, and equipped to help other youth like themselves in their journey to self-determination and self-love. And also, they're wearing their nail polish in public. And have been for a while. Fucking gross.
I'm gonna kill myself.
I love them so much.
I'm gonna kill myself.
I love them, also them.
I love how you're like, I love them, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill myself.
Very good for us. But yeah, that's, I wish you all the best. Do you have any thoughts? How much are you
I'm gonna kill myself. How much?
Yeah.
All the money in your bank account, your sister's bank account, your grandparents' bank account, your mother's bank account, Stu's bank account, all your land, all your houses, even all the land you sold off to other people, all of it. The whole state of Vermont.
Practically rented, not sold off, also not the whole state.
I think that's a reasonable amount between this and Legend Board.
It's pretty small, but okay. Yeah, no, it's a good time.
Well, everything's small compared to Texas.
True.
I'm sorry, I had to say that. You know, I had to.
It's okay.
All my exes.
One of these days,
I'm sorry.
These days, I will get you to read The Ghost We Keep, maybe for this podcast.
And I will kill myself afterwards, yes.
Probably because it is very depressing. I was just bawling my eyes out a lot. Also, there's a lot about panic attacks in that one.
I have a quick question, though.
Mm-hmm.
Is Mason Deaver okay?
I don't know, but they have a lot of plans.
That's reasonable. They're so real.
They're even, just look at their profile photo on Goodreads, and it's just them with a bunch of plants. It's very sweet.
I'm concerned for Mason Deaver.
Me too.
Should we contact them and be like, bestie, are you good?
I just want to give them a consensual hug. Or I'll just, like, water their plants for them. I'm really good at it. So.
I think they need a fist bump. That's the type of vibes I get. Ooh. They need a fist bump.
Do, like, a cool handshake? I always wanted to be one of those people who had friends that would, like, do those, like, friend handshake things. You know?
I will do a cool handshake with you. Don't worry, bestie.
Would, so now I just...
I will! You just gotta come see me!
You're the one that lives in my walls. Come out of my walls and then you can see me.
Give me 5 to 7 business days.
We have normal conversations here. It really makes you question, what type of people listen to this?
Nobody.
Who are those 55 people who clicked on the things we never got over episode on YouTube?
Romance girlies who are like, ooh, normal people talking about a normal book.
They the assignment, because one of these days we should read the sequel too.
Oh, I want to read it so bad. Don't even, oh my lord.
I know.
I eat that shit up. I will eat that shit up and you know it.
Yeah. I would like you to know it's been almost exactly 3 years since I've read this book.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I read it in August of 2020. I still had a father back then. I'll see myself out.
I had something back then. I don't know what it was, though.
We are okay in our heads.
The fact that I didn't know you in 2020 feels weird.
I know, it feels like we've known each other for years, but we've only known each other for just over a year.
Yeah, a year and 2 months.
We got really close in, June of last year. I was gonna say 2022, it's last year. June of last year is when we really became close. I mean, we started hanging out in spring, but...
We met in May, yeah.
I think we met a little bit before my birthday.
Yeah, we met, like, in February, beginning of May.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like it was actually solidified on your birthday stream. Because I think I went to, like, a stream or two before that. And I feel like I saw you on somebody else's stream before that. And that's how I got to your channel.
Probably. Not me.
Were you on other people's channels at that time?
I don't know. 101. Shave head, dye hair, undercut, learn to embroider. That is me. Make out with your friends. Banana bread. Collage. I almost read that as college. And I'm
redying my hair on the 1st.
I should redye my hair. Bessie saw me recently in person. For the first time in a bit. Since around the time the last time I dyed it, which was August of 2021, I believe. Yeah, I believe so. It was around the time that I got my second COVID shot. She saw me the first time and she's like, wow, the red undertone stayed in just enough where you can, like, just barely see it, and it makes it look nice.
And you wouldn't know because...
It's very obvious in person, the part that's, like, grown out since the last time I dyed it, because it doesn't have those red undertones, but, it's fine. I can't notice it that well because I'm red colorblind, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
You got any other thoughts before I stop this? Hope that it saves and isn't corrupted.
Once again, I'm asking if Mason Deaver is okay. Secondly, stop giving me relatable things. This is way too relatable, and I think I read it at the perfect time, and I hate you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Also, I feel like I should just mention, as someone who uses she, they pronouns, yeah, just yeah.
Did you know that there's a Christmas novella for this book?
Yes. Okay. I saw it. I will read it. Just not now. During Christmas. I'll read it during Christmas because I could not read a Christmas book right now. I will kill myself.
That's me during Christmas.
I don't like Christmas, okay?
Me neither. I got enough trauma around it. I'm good.
That's why we can just hang out with each other during Christmas and ignore everybody else and pretend Christmas doesn't exist.
No, my plan last year for Christmas was actually just for some reason decided to try to read 200 books in a year and then realized I had 35 to go when December started. So really struggling to reach it, and I just barely made it. Should I try to do that again? I don't know.
No.
Well, it was fun. I mean, it was stressful in the moment, but I was very proud of myself. And then a week later,
I got 100 books. I was very proud of myself.
I know. Look at you go.
And I'm at like 55 already this year.
Look at you go. I think I'm
and 11 this month already.
I'm behind on that section. We don't need to talk about that. Yeah, I'm at 74 right now.
That's so many books, Bessie. How the fuck do you do this?
It's called having to read at least 9 books every month for vlogs. And then there's also podcasts, and there's also book clubs, and the buddy reads.
I'm not in any book clubs unless you want to count this as a book club, technically. No one else is reading these books but us, but you know what I mean.
Books for this as podcast books, and then I have like book clubs, podcasts, and videos. And generally recently, the order of importance in my brain goes podcasts, then videos, and then book clubs.
Well, I only have, like, my books I read, and then the podcast, and then Buddy reads between me, you, and me and Jerica.
Those are podcasts anyways. And, like, hear me out the last
the Buddy reads. I feel like the Buddy reads are actually between me, you, and Jerica, because you just read them at the same time.
I just shoehorn myself in. I'm like, hello, I'm here to also read Rick Rider.
We don't even discuss them together. I think that's so hilarious.
Listen, literally, Jerica and I have said maybe 5 sentences total to each other. But don't worry. We've technically read all of Percy Jackson together.
It's fine. This is normal.
It's normal. It's okay. I think at one point you did put me in a group conversation with you two.
Yes, because I wanted to send something, but I didn't want to, like, send it separately, so I just sent it to y'all all at once.
After that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
There's someone else in there, too, and then they just left it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's this book. Stingray rated it 5 stars. I rated it 5 stars, so go read it.
I rate everything 5 stars. It doesn't matter. The fact that Rose rated it 5 stars.
And I rated it 5 stars. I've rated 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
How many
The
books
fact
have
you
I
rated
read?
5 stars should speak well enough for it.
I'm going to do the math right now. I'll give you the
Oh my god.
ratio. I have read 561
Okay.
books, and 30 of them I've rated 5 stars. That is
Okay, hold on.
0.05.
0.0.
Yeah, it's slightly over, just barely over 5% of the books I rate 5 stars.
Anyways, what meme should I make to post tomorrow after this episode goes up?
If this is the one that goes out tomorrow, who fucking knows? I'll try with it.
I'm just gonna assume this is what's going up tomorrow instead of the other one.
I hope not, but it may have to be. I do not know. Me telling you, to read a book that isn't sad. The book is actually sad.
No. We said something earlier about what to meme, and then I forgot what it was. Well, you have to edit this, so when you figure that out, tell me.
The one with the arrows and the army guy, but the arrows actually hit the child, and the child's you, and the arrows are me being like, this isn't a sad Mason Deaver. But it actually is the sad Mason Deaver.
Because all of Mason Deaver is sad, yes.
Thank you for the sad Mason Deaver, but also it's actually sad too.
Mason Deaver, we love you.
God, yeah. Did I already read the synopsis for the new book that comes out next year? Yes. Is it already on my TBR? Yes. Am I okay? No. I read this book again. And then forced Stingray to read it.
Yeah.
Healthy. Friendships. Motherhood. I'm sorry, is this not what motherhood is?
I mean, yes, motherhood is reiterating smut to your child and making them read sad books and then sending them a dark romance book that is also gay, yes.
I was just gonna say traumatizing your child, but yours is funnier.
Of course, I'm the funny one here.
No.
That was mean, I'm sorry.
Sometimes I make funny jokes.
You do, occasionally.
Remember that time
I do occasionally.
When I made that Dallas joke? That was real good.
Yes. I knew that's what you were gonna say.
I'm still proud of it.
Honestly, it was stupid, so I guess you should be.
I do like my humor is either dad jokes, dumb jokes, and dark humor. So
just everything I'm posting on Instagram.
Yeah. No. Okay.
We're okay.
I guess I should stop the recording.
Goodbye.
No.